What do us atheists say to each other on December 25th? You know, as a greeting, as a salutation. There's Merry Hitchmas and um, Happy Newton's birthday, and yeah, a bunch of different things you could say, I suppose. But today was a pretty good day for me, the 24th. I'm recording this at the end of the 24th. You might be listening to this on the 25th, but it's actually Christmas Eve where I'm at right now. So in my market today, there was a food drive and clothing drive that was put on by a ministry, and 70 people came through the door of my market looking for the food pantry that was set up. And they went out with turkeys and all sorts of food, but what you notice is the giant turkey that they were um, taking out with them. And hopefully, I wasn't back where the pantry was, but hopefully they were giving them directions on um, thawing the turkey, because they would have had to start thawing the turkey just as soon as they got it if they were going to actually eat it on Christmas, because those things were solid frozen. So, and I imagine that was to keep them, you know, from spoiling and keep them longer while they were in the pantry. But like 50 turkeys went out the door. Um, it was a good day. It gives you a good feeling to see that something like that can happen without much planning. They're actually planning to do another one this week. Um, this ministry is the type that I guess they get some sort of adrenaline rush and high from doing charity. And it was so great. They're like, when can we do it again? And they're like, we can maybe do one on Friday. I'm like, whoa. I'm not going to stop them, but that's another one with not much planning and just, everyone just being behind it with feelings. Okay. Seemed to work the first time. Um, but yeah, I saw volunteers from this pantry chase down a family that was leaving with just some food and stick some children's clothes that would fit the children that were with them into their bags, and I'm like, hold on, you need some of this too, like, and sending people away with more than they would have grabbed on their own, you know, just like, hey, you need some of this too. That was kind of neat. Um, I had one kid in my market end up crying because um, her mom did not want to buy a Ken doll, and this was a vintage Ken doll, um, and it wasn't in a box or anything, but I would put a price on it myself of about like $1, but it was listed for more than that. But this kid picked up the doll and was playing with it all through the store, and then I think the mom wanted to buy it, but then saw, it wasn't a very cheap toy. And separating this doll from this little kid was, um, it was very loud. and you could tell this kid had bonded with this Ken doll. And this was a 2-year-old girl bonding to a Ken doll. It's like magnetic. It's like this was her Ken doll, and it was being put back on a shelf. So, it got to me. So my one Christmassy moment, besides saying giving the okay for the food drive, I guess, my Christmassy moment was after they went out the door. It struck me to just walk over and grab the Ken doll, and then walk over and I walked out the door, and they were loading some food from the food pantry into their car, and I just gave it to the kid. You know. I talked with Kenny, the Blue Jay phone representative. He was there because he knew that there'd be a lot of people who would qualify for the Lifeline phones. So I would probably be swamped. So he came and set up a table rather than having people just come up to the till. Or we could normally help people get a Lifeline phone, but when you're running a register and giving people phones, it's kind of hectic. So he was there, signing people up, and we talked about a lot of different things, like tips on how to get your barrel-chested pectoral muscles even bigger. He's got a giant chest. But at the end of the day, I saw 70 people, and I don't know how many people are in those people's families, but a bunch of families fed. I was just happy. And then I got a couple of late orders on some paintings, and I know that these paintings were going to be used as Christmas presents. And so they were kind of time sensitive. So one was for Daxon Islander. He's a YouTuber. He's also got a channel, The Psychological Cynic. But he wanted me to take one of my paintings of Grumpy Cat and add a caption to it, like a meme, like you see on the computer on Facebook or something. Like you go to meme generator and then you create a meme version of a Grumpy Cat picture. Well, he wanted me to take my painting of Grumpy Cat and add his caption so he could give it as a gift. The caption was, "Stop the sass, no." And apparently it was an inside joke, but pretty sure that whoever he was giving it to isn't a subscriber of mine. He runs in different circles here on YouTube, so I can tell you guys this. But at the end of the day, his painting was the last one I delivered before coming home. And upon delivery, that was the 11th painting I sold that I painted previously in one day. 11. I feel really good about that. The good selfish good, not like the good unselfish good of seeing a whole bunch of people fed and clothed. I felt the good selfish good of I sold some paintings, and now I have to find some way to sell more than 11 to break my own personal best, which is like me doing a high jump of 20 feet and then having to beat that, you know, when I normally can't even do a high jump of like 4.5 feet, and I'm a 6 foot tall guy. So, yeah, I set the bar for myself a little high now. It's gonna take some sort of holiday where a lot of people need some gifts for me to be able to break that personal record of 11. Before that, my record was 5 in a day, and that was because there was a set of 4 and then 1. So, like, does it count if the 4 are related? You could call it 2. It was 2 customers, but um, of the 11 today, 1 customer bought 4, and 1 customer bought 2. So, do you count those as not as many because they were, from the same customer, patron, whatnot? I don't know. I'm counting just each individual panel, each canvas, you know, unless I actually intended the picture to go from one to the other, because I've done that before. But yeah, great day. I actually talked with Dax for like 30 minutes out in the cold while he smoked. Talked to him about how the business was going. Then I came home, right? And I had a box full of stuff. And in the stuff was a whole bunch of things that I had picked from booths in my market to be stocking stuffers and Christmas presents. So I don't do Christmas like other people. There's like primarily 2 people that I am concerned with: my niece and my nephew. And the only reason my brother and I really celebrate Christmas with them is because every other kid gets it. So the kids in this house are going to have what the other kids in the city have. It's about not depriving them or having them ever feel like they missed out on something. You know, so I don't think these kids are going to appreciate it at 8 and 5 years old. Some of the things that I picked out of an antiques store to give them. Um, one was one's going to get a Rockies baseball Pez dispenser, where it's like a baseball with Colorado Rockies on it, and you pull the baseball back like it's a head of something that you'd normally see on a Pez. And then the other one's going to get a Pez dispenser of Captain Jack Sparrow from when the original Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out. So, like collectible vintage Pez dispensers with at least a couple years on them. Yeah, I don't think they're going to appreciate it on the level that some people would, but I really wanted some of my booth vendors to get some sales, for Christmas, rather than shop anywhere else. And, shopping at Walmart is shopping in China. I'd rather have an American small business owner in my own market, a market full of small businesses, get some money, rather than me spend money anywhere else. I'm going to keep it in the business. So, Yeah, there were a bunch of uh, Land Before Time um, little dinosaur puppets, and I picked those up. Um, Still in the package, too, and they're like finger puppets for that movie, The Land Before Time. And I know what's going to happen to them. Those kids are going to piss off the dog with them on their hands, play a little with the dog and finger fight. And then that dog is going to take them when they're gone, take them out back, and rip them to shreds. And I don't know what vintage the Land Before Time finger puppet dolls are, but they were cheap and they were in my antique store. And they look like a toy that kids would play with. And I know my niece and nephew have seen that movie, so I might be a horrible person for destroying a little bit of history there, but um, probably happens all over the country where like little bits of our history are destroyed for the pleasure of little kids all over. Pez dispensers, vintage toys. As a stocking stuffer, one of the other things that I picked up were micro machines, little cars that they're really small. Like normal Hot Wheels cars are like, I believe, 1/87th scale, ratio of 1 to 87, and these are like 1 to 200 scale, really small. And I remember the Micro Machines man in the commercials. He talked really fast, like the Jimmy John's radio commercials. If you have heard any of those commercials, the Micro Machines commercials had a guy that talked really, really fast. So, I don't know, it's going to be a weird Christmas day for me. I'm going to wake up at, I'm going to say 5:30 is when my niece and nephew are going to say, "Uncle Mike, we can't open our presents until you're awake. Wake up." And I'll be like, "The sun isn't even up. Santa hasn't come." And they'll be like, "There's presents under the tree. Santa's come." This is what it was like last year. They get to open their stockings without me, but I'll have my video camera, to catch them opening their bigger presents. Last year was really funny because my brother's wife, or his ex-wife, had the kids first. He has them first this time around. But he had set up the tree with it was a Power Wheels dune buggy that could fit 2 kids, the size of his kids. And he had it underneath the tree already assembled, right? And so he gets his kids second, and they come in the house, and I have the video camera recording right on them, right? They look at the tree, and they're like, "Oh, cool! We already got one at Mom's house. Now we have 2." And my brother, oh man, the look on his face, priceless. And that's what you get for not communicating with your ex. So, I don't know what little gems this Christmas will bring, but I'll be ready with my video camera. But I will leave you with something that is kind of like a piss on the whole day, spoil everything moment to end a video with. But I'm going to do it anyway because this is who I am. This is what I do on this channel, right? And those of you who've gotten this far and you're like, wow, things are going great for Mike. Realize, recognize, this is me. Fuck it. So I get home with all these stocking stuffers in a box. I'm talking with my brother. He shows me something. His son, Silas, my nephew, who is 5 years old, wanted him to read something, so he went to his backpack and he pulled out this piece of paper right here. Now, I'm assuming that there was a candy cane attached to this right here, because there's some glue spot right here, you know, and it's a poem about a candy cane. And I have recently heard shit about candy canes in articles being spread around on Facebook, right? Like there's a whole thing about this right here, and it's actually come home with my own nephew into my own house, right? It's like from the news right into my home. So I imagine Silas ate the candy cane already, but he's 5, so he would have to have somebody read this to him, because he can't read. He's not literate. He's 5. This is called The Christmas Candy Cane Poem About Jesus. Look at the candy cane. What do you see? Stripes that are red, like the blood shed for me? White is for my Savior, who's sinless and pure. J is for my Lord Jesus, that's for sure. Turn it around, and a staff you will see. Jesus, my shepherd, was born for me. In his school bag. After giving me this, my brother went on to say that because of the way that his children are exposed to a lot of things when they're with their mother, his son has begun to say things that creep him out. Things like he's hearing voices telling him things, like he's hearing the voice of God saying that he had a vision that something would happen, and it happened. God told him that that would be there, and it was there, you know. And he's 5. So the last time my nephew said to my brother that he heard something from up there, my brother said, well, is there someone in the attic? Do I need to go get my gun? you know, did you really hear something with your ears? And he's trying to teach his son not to ascribe things to mystical forces, so flippantly. It's really easy to see when you look at a lot of the criticisms of some organized religions that the will of man sometimes very easily gets painted as the will of God. And to see this 5-year-old basically saying that God wanted him to have ice cream after dinner. That's just an example, but I don't really want to say the real things that have been said by him. To see a 5-year-old already equating his own desires with the desires of something supernatural, and saying that something supernatural is making him get what he wants. It's kind of creepy. Really. And what do you do to change that when you only have the child's ear half the time, and the other half the time there's someone undermining everything that you're teaching? At that point, it doesn't so much become about religious dogma or belief sets or anything. It's more about the horrible tragedy that is the American visible nuclear family, where you split up kids between the parents half the time at each, with joint custody and different lessons that are taught that sometimes are just completely incompatible. And there are a lot of people that would listen to this and think that if we would tell Silas to stop ascribing things to supernatural beings or desires or reasons, if we just stop him all the time, then we are, in the minds of some, stunting his spiritual growth in a bad way. Like, we could be bad role models by scorning him for being religious, in a sense. But the exact opposite can also be said, that we'd be bad role models if we were encouraging someone, if we were encouraging a child to not take responsibility for his own thoughts and give his desires a personification, and put them off on something else so you don't have to take responsibility for them. That also can be seen as not really good parenting. It's kind of a rock and a hard place when even if you make a decision to be on one side of that coin or the other, if you're only teaching the child half the time, the other half you have no idea what's going on, people on the other side could have chosen the other side of that coin. Then what you get is a bunch of surprising banter from a 5-year-old about feeling a calling. What fucking 5-year-old feels a calling? A calling. Wow. So I'm gonna go now. I've got a brunch with the Skeptics Society in the morning. I got some people that I'm picking up on the way. And then tomorrow night, I've been invited to dinner at Becky's house. That ought to be good. Laters.